The Millionaire is an American anthology series that aired on CBS from January 19, 1955 to June 7, 1960, originally sponsored by Colgate-Palmolive. The series explored the ways sudden and unexpected wealth changed life for better or for worse and became a 5-season hit during the golden age of television, finishing in the Nielsen ratings at number 9 for the 1955-1956 season, number 13 in 1956-1957, number 17 in 1957-1958 and number 30 in 1958-1959. It told the stories of people who were given $1 million from a benefactor who insisted they never know him, with one exception. The series was known in syndication by two titles, The Millionaire, and As If You Had a Million. The 1932 film If I Had a Million had a similar plot to this TV show. The Benefactor. The benefactor was named John Beresford Tipton, Jr. Viewers heard his voice making observations and giving instructions. They saw only his arm as he reached for a cashier's check for $1 million each week and handed it to Michael Anthony, his executive secretary. It was Anthony's job to deliver that check to its intended recipient, the cast. Invariably, The Millionaire began with a very brief opening theme fanfare behind the ascending title frame, followed by the cameras training directly upon Michael Anthony, played by veteran character actor and radio and television announcer Marvin Miller. The unseen John Beresford Tipton was played by another veteran character actor and voice artist, Paul Frees. Miller was the only cast member who was seen in every episode. The most regular recurring supporting actors were Roy Gordon, as banker Andrew V. McMahon, on whose Gotham Trust Bank the anonymous Tipton's cashier's checks were drawn, and Ed Herlihy, as the announcer for The Millionaire. Michael Anthony. The Millionaire told the stories of Tipton's beneficiaries in flashback, as if from Anthony's case files. Each episode began with Anthony behind his desk and looking directly into the camera, speaking one or another variation on this theme. My name is Michael Anthony, and until his death just a few years ago, I was the executive secretary to the late John Beresford Tipton, Jr. John Beresford Tipton, a fabulously wealthy and fascinating man, whose many hobbies included his habit of giving away $1 million, tax-free, each week, to persons he had never even met. From there, the camera faded to a brief tour of the grounds on which Tipton's home stood, as Anthony continued speaking. This is Silverstone, John Beresford Tipton's 60,000-acre estate. From here, he spent the later years of his life pursuing many hobbies, often tied to his fascination with human nature and behavior. Mr. Tipton was a man of so many wide interests, that when called into his presence, one never knew just what to expect. The camera then showed Anthony entering Tipton's presence, invariably greeting him with, "You sent for me, sir." Tipton spoke for a moment to Anthony, explaining what prompted him to choose our next millionaire, before handing Anthony the envelope containing the check, sometimes adding, "I'll want a full report." The beneficiaries. Following the commercial break, Anthony, back in the present and behind his desk, would introduce the week's millionaire. Exactly how Tipton chose whom to make an instant millionaire was never necessarily disclosed, although Tipton made it plain in the show's first episode exactly what his intentions were, saying that he wanted to set up a new kind of chess game with human beings. Tipton told Anthony, "I'm going to choose a number of people for my chessmen, and give them each $1 million. No one is ever to know that I am the donor." After showing the beneficiary in a typical situation for a few minutes at the beginning of the episode, Anthony would arrive, deliver the check, and have the beneficiary sign a legal statement binding him or her never to reveal the source of this $1 million gift except to a spouse, under penalty of forfeit. Once the document was signed and the thanks were given, Anthony disappeared from the beneficiary's life forever. The remainder of the episode showed how the gift affected the beneficiary. The beneficiaries were not always poor, but could be from any social class or occupation, from secretaries and construction workers to professionals like doctors and lawyers. Nor were they always likely to find their lives changed for the better because of their sudden wealth. The series ran for 206 episodes, and Tipton made $206 millionaires. However, the amount Tipton invested in his hobby was much more than $206 million, since, as Anthony told the recipient each week, the taxes have already been paid. The exceptions: Tipton did meet one beneficiary, a man condemned to be executed for a crime he never committed. He used a portion of his $1 million gift to prove his innocence, with direct help from Michael Anthony. The only time Anthony stayed in even the periphery of a beneficiary's life. Tipton visited the man as he was about to leave prison, though he was shown in his customary position, from behind, only his hand or arm and a brief glimpse of the top of his head in view. The only other time Tipton was seen in any episode, beyond presenting Anthony with the next check to deliver, was one in which Anthony was arrested and needed Tipton to bail him out to finish the mission. In another episode, Anthony said that the beneficiary got the money, all right, but not from me. Anthony was on his way to deliver the check when he was run down in a street accident, and the check was jarred loose from his possession. It made its way around a few stunned townspeople before it finally reached its rightful owner, offering a short study of those people's reactions to instant wealth as well as the intended recipients. End of production. The Millionaire ceased regular series production in 1960. Its final regular episode, Millionaire Patricia Collins, airing June 7, 1960, and its final summer reruns in its regular production time slot appearing that September. The show became a familiar presence in syndicated reruns from the 1960s through the 1980s, both on its original network, CBS, and on numerous regional independent stations. In 1999, the TV Land cable channel aired a few selected episodes. The show was never officially released on home video. CBS also aired daytime reruns in the early 1960s. The live announcer was Bern Bennett. In 2015, the series began to air on CBS's digital sub-channel network Decades, and unofficially launched the network on January 16, 2015 as part of the network's countdown to its Memorial Day launch, where 186 out of the 206 episodes of the series were screened back-to-back consecutively. 18 episodes were excluded from airing due to, according to CBS television distribution, these episodes having been removed from syndication. The reasons for these episodes being removed from syndication is unknown. The show formerly aired on Weigel Broadcasting's Heroes and Icons weekday mornings from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. EST, but was later removed in the first quarter of 2015. As of September 2015, the show doesn't air regularly on any TV network. However, the show can, occasionally, be seen on Decades. However, the dates the program airs on Decades vary greatly. Creator and producer Don Feddersen later produced a TV movie version of The Millionaire with Martin Balsam as Arthur Haynes and Robert Quarry as Michael Anthony. The movie was intended as a backdoor pilot for a revival series, which never occurred. Guest stars. Since each episode featured a different beneficiary, numerous guest stars appeared during The Millionaire's production, including Richard Anderson, Charles Bronson, John Carradine, Chuck Connors, Royal Dano, Angie Dickinson, Mason Allen Dinehart, Barbara Eden, Yvonne Lime Feddersen, James Gleason, Don Gordon, Peter Graves, Harry Gardino, Murray Hamilton, Dennis Hopper, David Jansen, Jack Kelly, Robert Knapp, Nan Leslie, Jack Lord, Nora Marlowe, Joyce Meadows, Lee Merriweather, Martin Milner, Mary Tyler Moore, Agnes Moorehead, had Rita Moreno, Paul Perrona, Aaron Spelling, Olive Sturgis, Regis Toomey, Robert Vaughn, Betty White, Grant Williams and Larry Pennell. At least 2 professional athletes appeared on the show: basketball and baseball player Chuck Connors and Hall of Fame baseball pitcher Don Drysdale. Parodies. The Millionaire was parodied in a 1958 episode of the Jack Benny program, in which Dennis Day became a Tipton beneficiary, with Marvin Miller as Michael Anthony delivering the unexpected gift. During its 4th season, The Twilight Zone was expanded to an hour. Rod Serling, upset at this change, wrote an episode that season called The Bard, about a hack television writer who couldn't come up with anything good until he inadvertently summons the ghost of William Shakespeare. One of his bad ideas was an in-joke. We take The Millionaire, expand it to an hour, and call it The Multimillionaire. In 1978, the Canadian sketch comedy program SCTV produced a parody of the show called The $1 Millionaire. In it, Tipton has given away so much money over the years that he is practically broke. He continues his experiment, but now can only afford to give away $50 at a time. Mad Magazine included The Millionaire in a parody article during the run of the show.